He's just going to watch the video again later anyways, he said. That's right. Nice. All right, so tonight, apparently. So first of all, I forgot to post a stupid quiz. That will be remedied this week. There will be a quiz. Stop it. I'm sorry, I don't know. I just totally blew it off, and then whatever. We'll make up for it. Now, midterm's supposed to be next week. During the course of this evening, I'll make a decision. I may push it back a week because I rearranged the syllabus a little bit, and I forgot to update that. So we'll decide. Either that or I'll cut part of Chapter 4 off. We'll decide. I'd kind of like to get it all in one test, so I'll probably push it back a week. Whatever. That's what tentative means. Okay, not a big deal. I don't think anybody's going to cry about that, and life will go on. So, without further ado, tonight it's all about probability, my all-time favorite thing, math-wise. It used to be not my favorite thing. But it wasn't because it was hard. It was never like it was hard. It was just, it didn't interest me. Oh my gosh, what's the probability you get like a Yahtzee? Who cares? Oh, what's the probability that you're dealt, by the way, not in a 4-person hand, that I deal you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's the probability I deal you a royal flush? Well, I don't know. Wait, I know. I don't care either. I don't care. Neither here nor there to me. Now, if you want to play poker, go knock yourself out. Play poker, friend. Go play poker. If you got 4 aces, first thing you should do is this. Well, this sucks. This is an awful. See, I can't do it. I can't even talk about it without a grin on my face, okay? Just hide that, baby. Oh, the cards hate me tonight. Here. Guess I'm all in. Here we go. Whoops. Yeah. So you're sending me mixed signals, partner. Oh, yeah. I'll fold. Okay. So 4 aces, pretty rare. Obviously, that's why we bid on it. Okay. Hey, cool. I've got a 2, a 3, a 4, a 6, a 7, a 9. Oh, yeah. All right. Let's bid. Let's go big. No, you're an idiot. You got nothing, pal. Why? Because everybody has that crappy hand. Okay? So we all know this. Hey, look, I'm going to put $1 on this horse. It's like 100 to 1. Well, you're going to lose every single freaking time. Except the time that you don't, in which case you're going to win very big. But again, it's neither here nor there. If you want to go bet the horses, go bet the horses. All right? You want to put money on your favorite football team, go put money on your football team. I don't care. But sitting around talking about the probability of it does nothing for me. I like applied probability. And that, my friends, is where it gets interesting. Okay? So tonight, we're going to talk about it from a more of an applied situation. We will, once in a blue moon tonight, several times probably, talk about like, rolling a dice or flipping a coin or some boring thing. Okay? But I try to stay away from the most boring problems because, well, that's not what you're going to be using probability for in your daily lives. Okay? In fact, you use probability all the time. When you wake up late, like a half an hour late, what's the first thing that goes off in your mind?
Oh, shit, I'm late.
Okay, well, clearly, but in your mind, already inside of your stomach drops, you're already upset, you're pissed off. Why? Well, I'm late. Well, so what? So what, man? So what, man? I'll just show up whenever I show up, brah. It's fine. It's all right. No, because you lived on a planet for, I don't know, some length of time, and you realize that when you roll in late, you can get your butt chewed, perhaps. Maybe it's the 87th time, so you're going to get fired this time. I don't know. Maybe it's oh, crap, now I'm going to have to work till 6 o'clock to get all my crap done tonight. Whatever it is, in your mind, you know there's going to be a problem. That's probability, friends. In the back of your mind, there is a giant spreadsheet / database, whichever way you want to think of it. It's collecting data all the time, whether you like it or not. And then your little brain goes in there and goes, calculates all the probabilities, and you're going, oh. Now, several times, I will share several examples. One of my worst bosses I've ever had, which I don't have anymore, yes. The last year that she was there, before she got canned, I had to go talk to her. And I knew it was going to be bad. I knew it was going to be bad because every time I've talked to her, it's been bad. So it's not a stretch to think that, okay, maybe one time it was good. So like 98 bad ones, one good one. Okay, I mean, it's not even close. So I go to talk to her. I present my case. About halfway through my spiel, she cuts me off and goes, I haven't talked yet. I'm like, no, here it comes. And it was like the most mind-blowingly good response that I could have ever dreamed of. Not hoped for, but dreamed of. I'm like, and she walked away. And then the vice principal was there. I'm like, what just happened, Chris? He's like, I told her to leave you alone this year. I'm like, well, give a brother a heads up next time. I'm going to have a heart attack. You can't do that to me. It was weird. The other day, I had to go talk to one of my new bosses. I have no real experience with her. Maybe like 5 conversations with her. Maybe she's been here about a year. She was pregnant for the first 6 months, so not around. So maybe she's been working for a year now. I've had maybe 5 conversations. I mean, high, but like maybe 5 real conversations with her. Nothing to base anything on. So I went down there the other day. One of the lift arms on one of the little hoists broke. Just cracked. It was nice. I noticed that after I got off from under it, there's a big crack in it, which didn't make me very happy. And I said, well, I need to replace it. It's going to be about $600. Oh, I'll pay for it. What now? I had no idea what to expect going into that. So I was like a little kid. Hey, will you buy this for me? I had no idea what to expect. A lot of bosses, I would have said, she's not. They're going to say no. Some bosses, well, I've never had a boss that would have said yes, but maybe would work with you. Well, yeah, we'll find a way for her to do that. Now, that gets tucked away in the old good Katie side of her folder. There you go. Cool. But next time I go talk to her, I'm like, I got something to lean back on and make a decision based on. Okay? So what I want you to think about is this. I mean, obviously, probability by now what? Now what? Mother freaking.
What's the probability that you...
Well, the end works. It's not the top. One moment, please. Well, you can, it's been good lately, but.
Just keep a pack of batteries down.
Oh, yeah, you have to. These things eat them like crazy. All right, let's try this again. Oh, yeah, there you go. It's the likelihood, of course, of something happening. And that's true.
Probability of you running out of battery.
Well, pretty good. Pretty good, because it hasn't happened recently, so it was bound to happen one of these times. Thank you. That was Lefty, too, by the way. Nice. All right, probability of something happening is likelihood of something happening, obviously. By definition, it is this. It is the favorable outcomes over total outcomes. There's a T in there somewhere. There you go. Cool. Nice. So this is the probability of the event happening. Yeah, that's cool. And so when you look at this, obviously it could be something like the probability of getting a 6 on a dice. Something very mundane and boring. So it's 1 out of 6. Okay, that's not hard. Okay, 1 out of 2 for heads or tails, that sort of thing. But what about my boss saying, my probability my boss says yes to spending money? Okay, going into that, I had nothing to rely on. So I walk in there, I might have walked in thinking 50-50, all right? My old boss, it would have been something like this. I had spoken to her about several things of this nature, maybe 1,000 times. Maybe one time she said yes. So the chances of her saying yes to me, it's pretty close to 0. That sounds about right. The probability that my old boss yells at me about something, boss yells about something, is something like, I don't know, whatever. It's most of the time, okay? That was who she was. Probability that she was on her cell phone while you were talking to her, 100%. 100%. Never saw her. The best one, though, you sit in a meeting, she's texting, you just stop talking. Literally the longest I ever sat there before she realized I'd quit talking, 5 minutes. Oh, did you have anything else to say? Oh, I was just waiting until you're finished. Oh, okay. Being a total jerk, but that's me. Anyway, good. So these ideas can be either generated based on data, okay, or they can be based on some theory. This is theoretical. That is, there are 6 sides to a dice. One of them is the good one. Yay, 1 out of 6. This is data, what we call empirical or experimental probability. Yeah, nice. And again, you have this stuff going on in your head all the time. That's why you make decisions based on what you do. Why did you go, okay, when you drove up the stoplight today outside your house, you could go right or left to go to work. Why'd you go right? Well, because I looked left and there was a school bus and I didn't want to follow the school bus down the road. Well, why? Well, because it's going to take forever, so I went right instead. But isn't it longer? Well, yes, but the school bus stops every 20 feet, so I just went this way instead. Well, how did you know that? Because I've done it before and it sucks. Oh, okay, cool, nice. Literally, this is how everything in your life goes. It's rare that you go, I don't know, let's flip a coin. Okay, well, I guess we'll go left this time. No, it's ludicrous. You've tried it, it didn't work out. Ooh. Then some people are like, let's try it again, see if it works this time. Ooh, didn't work this time either. Let's try it again. Ooh, say that didn't work either. And after a while, you generate enough data, you're like, ooh, I'm going to do something different. Okay? And sometimes it takes longer than others. Sometimes the very first time something happens, you write someone off. That's lunacy, obviously, at that point. Well, it happened one time, and I'll never do it again. Well, you're weird, dude. Seriously, what's that about? I had a Toyota once. I hate Toyotas now, based on that one car. Yes, I know. It's A, not logical. I know that. It's B, a little judgy. I know. But whatever. That's just me. I don't care. That's what I'm going to do. My in-laws had one Chevy car that was a, quote-unquote, a lemon. It would be interesting to go back and just see how big of a lemon it was. But, oh, my God. I will only ever own a Toyota now, Jay. I'll never buy anything but a Toyota. Whatever, dude. Whatever. So they've had maybe 4 or 5 Toyotas, and they've had good luck. Good for them. All right. And clearly, Toyota makes a good product because they sell a zillion products. It's not a big deal. But yeah, we all have our little judgmental things about things. Okay. Now, I based my Toyota feelings about one car, which was a bear to work on. And that was my biggest concern with it. Okay. It was fun to drive. It wasn't bad when it was running. Did its nice job. I spent $1,100 in sensors the last year I owned that thing. $1,100 in sensors. I hated that thing. What's that?
eBay.
Yeah, well, yes. Now, knowing what I know now, yes, perhaps, but ridiculous. So I did have something to base it on, but again, it was kind of short-sighted in a lot of ways. Okay? So we're going to be talking about this a lot. We're going to see things like this, and we're going to look at some of this tonight. By the way, this will be the other pivot table, is what we're looking at tonight. Men and women. Nice. Nice. Little, oops, that's not it at all. Electrical engineers. REs. Is REE or RE?
RE.
REE. Nice. METs. I don't know. I'm just making some crap up. IT. I don't care. Good enough. Doesn't matter. I don't care anymore. Here we go. Now, 6, 17, 11, 14, 19, 6, 12, 13. Sweet. I can't add this. 23, 37, 48 men. That's weird. 25, 37, about 50, I guess, women. Sweet. Boy, it's hard to get more 50-50 than that. Nice work. 98 total people, I think. Yes? I feel like that's 25, 23, 23, and 27. Sounds about right. If you put these 98 people in a hat and reached in and fished out a name, boop. So let's put everyone in the hat. Everyone. How many people are in the hat? Well, 98. Right? What's the probability that the person is a MET major? I don't know. Let's find out. What's the probability the person's an MET major? 23 of the 98 people are METs. That's it. 23 out of them are not. Oh, there it is. This, my friends, is probability. Nice. Now, what's another way to say that? Probability percent, proportion, potato, vodka. Okay? I do not care in any way, shape, or form how you phrase it. I don't care at all. So, if you get it, vodka, get it, wink, wink. All right, now, if you want to write it as a fraction, knock yourself out. That's great. Matter of fact, fractions make me very happy. Oh, so there's 98 people in there, and then just 23 of them? Oh, that's awesome. That's great. You could also divide that out and get a percentage, yes? What percent is that? 23%? Yeah, right at 23%. How about that? Yeah, I should have thought about that before I looked. Yes. About 23% of them are ME teenagers. Oh, that's cool. And also, if you prefer, of course, you get 0.23. You could say, 23 out of 98. You could write it a bunch of different ways. It all means the same thing, right? Now, I personally feel certain ways about my probability. For instance, in this case, to me, right there, I like it as a fraction. It makes me the happiest in this case because I'm drawing names out of a hat. There's 98, 23 out of them are METs. Nice. Nice. When I hear the weather report in the morning, I like my weather in percentages. Thank you very much. Okay? I want to hear it's 42% chance of rain today. That makes me happier. Well, that doesn't make me happy, but it sounds better in my brain. Okay? I think it'd be funny if they gave the weather in fractional format someday. All right? Because you walk outside, people need to bark up. This person's in a bikini. This person over here is wearing shorts and whatever. And the guy said there's a 24 out of 97 chance of rain. And, well, yeah. So why you dress like that? You have no clue about fractions. So percentages, people seem to get them more. That's cool. I really don't care one way or the other how you write it. To me, it just seems to make a little more sense in this case to do it in a fractional format. I like it. It makes me happy. Here's a question. What percent of the women are EE majors? I don't know. Let's find out. So, how many people are in my total this time? This time, who's in my hat? Just the women. So we better figure out how many women there are. 50 of them. And of those 50 women, how many are EE majors? 19. So again, it said percentage. That's 38%. Nice. Okay. Nice. It's okay. Right? No. Like 2%. No, the funny thing was I thought I had the men on the top and the women on the top and the men on the bottom. That's why I put 6. Then I realized afterwards it was done, but I'm too lazy to change it. That was the only girl. That's all right. Whatever. We're just making up data here, friends. That's what I do most of the time. Here's some data. Here we go. All right. Doesn't make any difference. We just make it up. That's all we're talking about right now. Because once you understand how to deal with it, it's where it comes from, and here we go with it. Okay? Here's a fun one. Of the IT majors, what percent are men? I don't know. Let's find out. So in our hat, IT majors, sweet. It's 27. So 14 out of 27. Just a skosh over 50%, yes? Yay. And the crowd goes wild. Okay. Oops. Yeah, nice. Now, we're going to be looking at some data like this tonight. It's going to be a good time. As a matter of fact, I will put it up there right now. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll do it right now. Now, bear with me for a moment. I thought yeah. Okay, so I'm going to put this up on I'll put this up on the Blackboard page, or whatever that dumb thing's called. Canvas. Can I just say I'm not a big fan of Canvas? I'm not a fan. It annoys me. The other day, I was putting up a quiz for my other class, and somehow it got set so that the answers showed up. Oh, that's great. Cool. Yeah, that is great. The kids are like, Jay, there's only one answer. Yeah, I know. It's the right one. Awesome. So I forgot my little disk drive, so I'm going to download this data set real quick off of this stupid website. Give it to me. One moment, please. Content. Strawberries, sure, why not? Download. Done. Oh yeah, you'll see what that means pretty soon. It was just that was for a graphing thing for them to do for a time series graph. And I just made up something, as I usually do, because it doesn't matter. Hog populations, fleas, ticks, I don't care. It doesn't make a difference to me. Show in folder, canvas. All right, so somewhere, 361. There we go. Let's put up a... What? Oh, just give it to me. No, you're ridiculous. Plus, there you go, dummy. Let's just put up a file. Cool. And, sure, new file. Let's go find it. Oh, shut up. There it is. Strawberries. Nice. Yeah, so go grab this strawberries folder, file. And let's open it up. And it looks like this when you open it. Cool. I got two of them open, I guess. All right. Nah, and I don't want that. I want this data set. There we go. Cool. Oh, nice. Cool. Oops, that's a little extreme. Nice. So there's some data. Whatever. If you want to play along, there it is. So I don't know the people's gender, whether they have a car or not, live with mom and dad or mom, and so forth. So I am going to grab this data set. Oh, fart. This is not the best data. I'm just going to go down to mom and both right now. I'll put up some more later on. Maybe we'll practice a little bit more later in the class. I think there's 400 of them. Nope, 300 of them. I lied. So if you highlight them, make a pivot table out of this business again, just like last time. The difference is what we're doing with it. So here's my pivot table. Nice. So, question might be asked on your homework tonight, or on this project assignment, this assignment that's coming up. What is the probability that the person who lives with mom is in Algebra 2, and is in Algebra 2, and Algebra 2, okay? Who's in their hat here? What's the probability that a person lives with mom and is in Algebra 2? I should say mom only before someone asks. There you go. Who's in your hat?
People who live with their mom only.
No, it says they live with their mom and they're in Algebra 2. I wasn't real specific.
Start with the wider group and narrow it down with the other.
You might want to. I didn't say to this time. I didn't say of the people who live with their moms. I just simply said I want a person who lives with their mom and is in Algebra 2. So everyone is in my hat. Now, we're going to discuss tonight about how a math person talks about these things versus how the normal world does it. Okay? They're different. So, everyone, so there's 300 people in my hat. How many of them live with mom and are in Algebra 2? I don't know. Let's find out. So, Algebra 2, live with mom. Cool. So, the ones I'm interested in are right where? Right there? 22 of them? 22 of them fit the bill of, that is, they live with mom and they're in Algebra 2. Okay? Now, some people would do it this way. Some people would do it backwards from me. It doesn't make any difference how you go about it. Some people do it this way. Hey, knock yourself out. There's still 22 people in there. Some people like to do it this way, and it's totally up to you how you do it. You can filter it. Be careful when you do filtering. Those are still our 22 people, but now it looks like there's only 68 people in the hat. You with me? So you have to be careful when you filter, right? It's not bad, and I do use it sometimes. I specifically use it when I say, listen, of the people who live with their moms. Well, for that, then I for certainly want to filter it out by who lives with mom, okay? But if I didn't say that, if it's out of everybody, then make sure that you either put your denominator in first or don't use a filter. I personally would not use a filter for the most part, okay? I feel like that just kind of confuses me a little bit sometimes. 300 people in my hat, still 300 people in my hat. It's just those 22 right there that I'm interested in. Okay? Let's try another one here. So let's do this. What's the probability? Oh, see, what's the? I'm gonna wordsmith it this way. Of the people who live with both parents, what percent have a car? I don't know. Let's find out. So who's in my hat? Okay, so if it's me, I'm going to put has car here and here. Okay? Has car. That's who I'm now, but I'm going to filter it by who they live with. I'm just going to filter it by both. So there's 149 people in my hat. You see that? And of those, 44 have a car. Right? Nice. And so what percent is that? Around 30? 30-ish percent. Nice. Right? 30-ish. Nice. 29.5. You know, whatever. It's whatever, dog. Now, I will say this. This is how those of us in the real world who live in the normal world say that. This is how a math person says that. What's the probability that a person has a car?
And?
No. Given they live with both parents. That is how we say it in the quote-unquote math world. It's kind of weird and kind of off-putting sometimes. Okay? In the real world, we say things like this. Hey, listen, I'm only interested in people who live with their parents. All right, cool, whatever. So of those people, what percent do this and such? Okay? Somebody asked me a while back something about doctors and people who are sick or something. I'm like, well, the doctor doesn't care about you very much if you're not sick, right? And they're like, well, I mean, I guess. Well, there's no guessing about it, dude. You go to see the doctor when you're sick, as a general rule. People bring their cars to me when they're not working. It's kind of how this thing goes. I mean, I just came to visit you, doc. That's weird, dude. Okay. Is there something wrong with you? No, I just wanted to come say hey. No, go away. That's weird. So it's of the people who have this disease, what percent of them get better when I give them a drug, things like this. That's what I'm interested in, obviously, yes? So, again, we will say it in the real world, like of people who live with both parents. The math world, we say probably they have a car, given that they live with both parents. The second aspect over here, this is what had to happen first. Had to happen first. It is who is in your hat. Okay, if you want to think of it that way, it is your denominator. A lot of ways you want to think about it, but that's the part that matters. Okay? Okay, so there it is. And again, I'm not joking. In your mind, in the back of your mind, you have a pivot table just like this. Except that there's like literally thousands of stuff going on over here. Thousands and thousands of things. And in your mind, you're going, wait, this just happened. Well, if that happened already, well, then the rest of it can't happen. For instance, you could have a situation where you have, I don't know. For instance, for instance, when you're in high school, you have a choice of dropping out or not dropping out, yes? I feel like, okay, cool, so drop out.
Okay.
Well, in theory. Or drop out / graduate, I guess, whatever. Some of you might not have had that option to drop out, but I mean, in theory. Now,
Graduate or die.
there you go, sure. And then you could do things like, get a job, and go to college, and so forth and whatnot. And then I'll do like PCC type. There you go. Whatever. And then they're like, okay, something like MIT. Yeah, sure. And yeah, that's good enough for government work. All right, cool. So listen, I for always am running into people who are like, oh, I wish I'd have done this back in the day. Sorry, pal. You dropped out of high school. All right? What does that do for a lot of your possibilities in your life? It kind of narrows it down a skosh. Okay? There's a guy I used to work with who he wanted help because he was a custodian, but he wanted to become an electrician. I'm like, cool, awesome. Can you help me with the math? You know it, pal. So we started studying a little bit, and then he didn't quite pass the test. It's because I said, well, dude, you're kind of low in your algebra skills. Yeah. So I kind of dropped out of high school. I took like 1 year of algebra, and I got like a D in it and this and that. I'm like, oh. So it's basically coming back to bite you in the fanny at some point in your career, all right? Like the kid who some years ago, I said, why don't you do something? I don't have any homework. I'm like, oh, for God's sakes. I know you're failing biology. Yeah. I said, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a veterinarian. But you're failing biology. Well, yeah. I'm like, why? I don't like touching gross things. I'm like, okay, you're not going to be a vet, dude. You're not going to be a vet if you can't touch gross things, okay? What are you doing? Well, I like dogs. Okay, then go work at the pound and feed dogs or something, or do something with animals. That's great. But you're not going to cut them open, you weirdo. Well, I'm not going to slice a dog open if you can't touch weird. That doesn't even make sense. Or the kid who's failing pre-algebra miserably as a senior. I'm like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a surgeon. I go, oh, dude, I wouldn't let you cut my bologna sandwich. All right, what are you talking about? It's like, well, that's mean. I'm like, no. You've made some decisions throughout your career. I'm going to be a screw up. 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 Would you want you cutting on you? Well, no. I'm like, no, neither would anybody else. Okay? So you've made these decisions. I made a decision. Okay, cool. Once the decision is passed, can't really backtrack to it, yes? So given that I'm here, okay, what's the probability I do this or this after the fact, yes? They're different now, right? Could you drop out of high school, get a GED, put yourself through PCC, and still end up being a doctor someday? Yes. What's the likelihood of that? It's pretty small. It's pretty small. Why? Because you dropped out of high school. It really set you back a ways, yes? Now, when I graduated from high school and I did this, and I got straight A's, and then could you still be a doctor? Yes. Is it higher than the other one? Yes. Does it still mean it's going to be easy? No, but it's a lot better than the other route, yes? So that's the whole point of this given stuff, right? So given that we didn't graduate from high school, well, what about this? What about it, sir? It doesn't exist anymore. It didn't happen, all right? You are in the dropped out of high school routine. So the probability that you go to MIT, slim. Well, no, it's none. Okay, there you go. Right. It's not going to happen if you dropped out of high school. But I could do this and that. Okay, maybe there's like a 0.0001% chance. Dude, it's not going to happen. Okay? And again, why? Because it's conditioned on something that already happened in the past. And so conditional probability and dependent probability are two of my favorite things to talk about. Because in real life, this is what it's all about. It's very few things in my life are truly independent. Very few things. Like, well, what time I wake up this morning is independent. No, it's not. It's dependent on when you went to bed last night, I believe. It's dependent on whether you have to get up today for work or not, yes? It's dependent on how drunk you were last night. I don't know. It's dependent on a lot of things, right? When you get up this morning, okay? Or if you wake up this morning, okay? It is dependent on a lot of stuff, right? I didn't get home till 4 in the morning, and then this, and then that, and let me guess, you woke up late. Yeah, how did you know? I don't know. I've been alive for some time. That when I go to bed at 4 a.m. and I'm exhausted, it's not shocking to me that I overslept the next morning or I slept in. It doesn't shock me at all because that's what happens, yes? So it's based on something that's happened in the past, yes? And that's very few things in your life aren't that way. Now, my boss got hit today, or she got rear-ended today in her car. Horrible, sad, whatever. She's fine. But her car is not, and she was upset about that. But anyways, pretty much independent, right, of what she did. She got rear-ended. Right? She got hit. That sucks. Okay, yeah. Okay, but again, very few things in our lives are truly, truly independent. Okay, I mean, it happens sometimes. You're like, well, you could get a disease. Well, you can get some diseases that are truly independent of what you've done. That's true. But not that many of our things. And if they are, it comes down to well, it's one of those things that happens, right? I mean, you got in a car wreck today. I couldn't see that coming. No, that's right. You couldn't avoid it. What are you going to do? All right? That's just how those things happen. However, these ones are the ones that are interesting. So, for instance, okay, some things that are dependent. What is the probability that I will have high blood pressure? Let's do high, not triglycerides. What's the other ones? High cholesterol. There you go. High cholesterol. There you go. Given I eat foods that are, I don't know, high in cholesterol, and am sedentary. Don't move. I don't know, but it's going to be clearly higher, yes? What's the probability that I'm going to be overweight? I'll say grossly overweight. Given I eat McDonald's 3 times a day. I'll say 4 times a day. 4 times per day, every day. That's pretty high. Okay? If it's just probably you're gonna be overweight, it's probably the same percentage that your parents are or something, because it's genetic. Obviously, it's not some random deal, right? You don't get a totally different shape than your parents as a general rule. Okay, you probably look ish like one of them. Okay, my dad and I look a lot alike. Although it's better than look like mom, I guess, right? Because that'd be weird. Okay, but the same build. Oh yeah, same exact build. It's kind of scary, actually. Okay. But yes, obviously you will be grossly overweight if you eat like 10,000 calories a day. You're going to be grossly overweight at some point. That's just going to happen to you. Why? Because this is causing that. Yes? Nice. This has at least a nice link to that. Yes? Yeah, that's just how these things go. Same thing with diabetic stuff. Yes? It's a wonder I don't have diabetes, as much sugar as I used to eat when I was a child. But whatever. Apparently I don't, so I'm good with that. But it can, obviously, where this is the cause, this is kind of, if you will, the effect. It isn't always a cause and effect. Sometimes there just happens to be a relationship there. For instance, what's the probability that you have blue eyes given that you have black hair? Don't answer that yet. What's the probability you have blue eyes given you have blonde hair? Which is a bigger probability of happening? Yes, this is bigger than this. Yes? This one is bigger. It's greater. This one is the higher probability. There, I'll put that. Higher probability. Does your hair color cause your eye color? No, but there's definitely a relationship between the two, yes? So there's a girl I had in class. I had her a couple of years in a row, and then she's my TA, and I'm like, I've always wondered, are those contacts? Oh my God, why does everybody ask me that? I'm like, because you have laser blue eyes burning out of your head, and you have black hair, and it's just not something you see every day. As a matter of fact, of all the people I've ever seen in my entire life, you're the only person I remember who has blue eyes with black hair. Well, why does everybody? I'm like, because you're kind of an oddball, kid. No offense. It's cool, but it's just a little strange. Okay? It's just what it is. And blonde hair and blue eyes are both recessive traits. Whoa, they're more likely to show up together. What? Yes, exactly. Now, when you start getting into things like demographics, did you know that men and women, sometimes buy different things? Nuh-uh, shut up. Yes, it's true. So, this is why, for instance, when you tune into some shows, you will see whatever kind of advertisements. And if you turn to other shows, you see other kinds of advertisements. Because if you're spending millions and millions and millions of dollars on your advertisements, and your thing is probably predominantly bought by women, you're probably not going to advertise during a football game. Now, political correctness says you should, of course, right? You should spend it evenly across everywhere. Your pocketbook says no. Because obviously the football games predominantly watched by men. Therefore, probably going to see more advertisements toward men geared toward that and then whatever. Yes, that's true. That's right. Now, same thing. Because if you condition it on, hey, where should I spend my money? Well, it's exactly the same thing. If a predominance of women watch this show, and if you have a product that you're trying to advertise for women, that's probably where you should do your advertising. Yeah, how about that? And it's the exact same thing. It's called conditional probability. Okay? We were going to do a ton of that tonight. I'm going to come at this from a different point of view than I normally do, because I feel like it this time. True story. No, usually I kind of go back and review probability tonight. Maybe I'll do that later. I think we have a pretty good handle on it, yes? Probability is always going to be somewhere between where and where? Smallest it could ever be is 0, meaning what? It can't happen. It's physically not possible. You cannot roll a 7 on a dice. It's not possible. What is the highest probability? 100% or 1, meaning what? Oh, yeah. I think it's literally how I say it. I literally say it can't not happen. It has to happen. That's the only thing there is. All I have is 6s on this dice. Ooh, what's the probability you get a 6? 100%. Oh, okay, there you go. Very nice. And so somewhere between the two. So I normally spend a little time talking about that. I don't feel like doing that tonight. So, true story. 2008. I had my stats class at the high school right after lunch. So at lunch, I'm reading the news on the computer there and everything. And there was an article from the CDC had studied teen girls. I believe it was 13 to 17, but you can go back and review it. I don't care. Type in, well, in a minute, when you hear what I say, you can go read it for yourself. Anyway, teen girls 13 to 17 in the United States. Turns out, this is no joke, 1 in 4, this is 2008 statistics, CDC, 1 in 4 teen girls, 13 to 17, have at least one STD. I said, this would be an interesting way to start class. That sounds like probability to me. Kids will focus in. They'll be like, what? I read the study. I read it. It was a very lengthy study. It was interesting. They follow these girls, by the way. Some kid always asks, why just girls? Well, girls go to the doctor more often than boys for routine checkups and so forth and whatnot. So that's who they were studying on. One could extrapolate that the dudes have a similar percentage. It's not a big deal. It's nothing particular. Just boys don't go to the doctor that often and get checked out. Okay? Unless there's a problem. All right? But girls go in routinely to get checkups and so forth and whatnot. Okay? There it is. Now, here's the fun part. 1 in 2 teen girls, 13 to 17, are active, if you will. Yeah, cool. Well, hot dang, that's how I'm starting class today. This will be fun. So I wrote this statement here on the board, and this one girl goes, it's those 3. There's been a few times in my life where I have not seen something coming. That was one of them. I'm like, I'm going to get fired. All right, I calmed down. I'm back on track. So then I go up there. One of my TAs later told me that she was covering up for her. And I said, oh, interesting, awesome. That she said that girl was making a big scene because she was one of the ones probably. I said, oh, cool, thanks for telling me that crap. I didn't want to know. So I do this picture on the board. What do you think? What's that look for? That's a weird look, Natasha. She gave me one of these. Are you saying that you have to do something to get the souvenir?
Yes.
That's right. I feel like that's true. So how should I redraw this picture? Because, by the way, I am not wrong in my 25% and my 50%, am I? I'm not. I just put them in a weird spot. So where would you put it differently? You're amazing. Good job. Keep going. Where'd you put it? Mm-hmm. Right there. Is this 1 out of 4? It is, isn't it? It's 1 out of 4. Now, someone will say, well, I know a person who got it from a blood transfusion. That's right. No, you're not wrong. That's right. Is it possible that there's a small, little tiny percentage of people on this side? Sure. Is it the same percentages on the other side? Not even close. Not even close. This is why they call them STDs. Are you with me? People get TDs all the time. That's like the cold, the flu, and every other transmitted disease, yes? These ones are called STDs because why? Because there is a higher prevalence of getting them, yes? Because of the sexual part of it, yes? Isn't that great? Nice. Now, at this point, I'm like, that's pretty cool. Check this out. What's the probability that a kid has an STD given that they are active?
1 in 4. 50.
Okay, what were you saying back there? It's 50%. It's 50%. Exactly 50%. Why is that? Because I'm not interested in these people at all, am I? So of the 50% that are up there, 25% of the 50%, or in other words, half of the 50% have one. That's right. Interesting. Interesting. Now this is where people are kind of like, oh, that's weird. And then this one boy in the back of the room, who I've taught like a bunch of his brothers and sisters because they're Mormon family, nice people. He's like freaking out. Like literally freaking out. Like beside himself. I'm like, what's the problem, dude? And he couldn't even put a word together. I'm like, what are you upset about? He's like, well, how am I going to find a girl? I'm like, I go, now, listen, I know your family very well. I said, when you go on your first date, because you probably haven't, no, I'm like, it will be at the church, right? And it'll be like something very, I don't know, you can play Yahtzee or something, right? Well, yeah. I'm like, so what's your problem? He goes, well, I don't know. I'm like, and the girls that are going to be at your church that you're playing Yahtzee with, what side of the board are they going to be on? Well, probably the non-active side. I'm like, well, yes. And I said, wait, here's the name of a girl. Like, if you have to go on a date with her tonight, get to go on a date, take her out to a movie, get some dinner or something. Do you have to have sex with her? Well, no. I'm like, then what's your problem? And he goes, oh, I guess that's better now. So I talked him down off the ledge. And there's these 3 idiots over in the corner like high-fiving. I'm like, now you morons, all right, you should be concerned, okay? You probably should be concerned because clearly they date only on the one side. Mm-hmm. And so it was the idea that, listen, we're not interested in these people over here. Well, the CDC didn't care less about these people, yes? Now, by the way, back when AIDS first became a thing in the late 80s, if you remember old people, was there a couple of us that are old? There was some concern, yes, because it wasn't real clear initially what the hell was going on. Remember that? And a little, oh my God. And then like somebody kissed Rock Hudson or something on the mouth or something. And I was like, oh, that's gross. Or they shared a fork with him or something. I'm like, oh, gross. Okay. And people were seriously concerned about this before they realized, hey, listen, whoa, this is an STD. They thought it was just a TD. If it was just a TD, a transmitted disease, should you be worried? All right? And that was a big deal in the late 80s. People were really concerned about this. And then they finally realized, whoa, that's the STD. And people kind of calmed down then. They're kind of like, well, hey, all right. I guess we're pretty all right. To some degree anyways. Okay? It wasn't as big of a, oh, I'm just going to catch it off a toilet seat or off a fork at the restaurant or something. Okay? You actually had to try to get the stuff. Okay? Creepy story. Back in the 80s, we used to have white football fans. And we used to always, okay, you eat grass, stained mud and everything. But then blood too, right? My blood, your blood, everybody's blood. All over your uniforms. And it was kind of cool. It wasn't that cool after we found out about AIDS. It was kind of weird, actually. And, back then it was kind of like, yeah, look at this, man. I'm bleeding everywhere. That's awesome. Yeah, and they didn't stop the game. You just kept playing. And now you're kind of looking back on it going, yeah, it's kind of gross. So, okay. Yeah. So, it's a whole different culture. But you didn't know, all right? People were a little concerned initially about where it was coming from, where is it primarily coming from, and that sort of thing. And again, that's the idea. Same thing is true when you talking about things like lung cancer and cigarettes. How do they establish lung cancer? I got to stop them doing it right. How do they establish that there is a relationship there? I don't know, something like this. Boop, boop, boop. Smokers, not as big a percentage of the population versus non. Lung cancer. Not every smoker gets it, for God's sakes. Don't be ridiculous. Say, this is a lot bigger percentage of the smokers, yes, versus the non-smokers. What have you just showed me? You showed me there is clearly there is a relationship there between the two. That's the whole game. That is the whole aspect of how all medical stuff is tested. When you start looking at things, which one's doing the causing? Is there a relationship between this and this? What are you looking for? You want to see if there's a higher propensity or a higher probability of it happening in this particular population, be it smokers or what have you. Okay? That's exactly what it boils down to. Not every smoker gets it. It wasn't like it's 95%, for God's sakes. There's a certain percentage of them that get it. Okay, but it's a higher percentage than non-smokers. Right? Well, my grandpa worked in the shipyards, Jay, and he got it from asbestos. First of all, I'm sorry. But second of all, that doesn't prove anything, right? That's the idea that yes, there will be smokers who got it from asbestos as well, yes? And not from the cigarettes in general, right? Again, it's the higher propensity of it, right? Every time someone says something, you can always find someone who's grandpa, grandma, aunt, uncle, whatever, right? If I say that nobody ever wins when they go to Vegas, well, my grandma never loses. I know, your grandma always wins. Everybody else's grandma always loses. Okay, I got you. But the general gist of it is, on average, people lose money when they go to Vegas, right? That's why the place is semi-opulent when you go there, okay? People just dump their money there and come home, okay? But I know your grandma always brings home the cash. Good for her, okay? Yeah, that's just how it always is. My grandpa lived to be 100, and he smoked 1,000 packs of cigarettes. And listen, cool. That's not why he lived to be 100. He lived to be 100 in spite of that, perhaps, but good for him. All right, nice. So just be aware of that. There's always exceptions to the rule. In fact, oftentimes I just kind of sit there and just go, good, so you know the exception. Awesome. All right, good for you. But again, conditional probability is where it's all at. Okay? Do you ever go home late after curfew and mom caught you and you might have been, let's say, inebriated a little bit? Yes, we'll pretend that happened to someone, yes. Listen, if your mom caught you at the door like 2 hours late for curfew and you're drunker than a skunk in a phone and she doesn't rip your head off, that's just weird, okay? That should happen. That should be right now, your mom's screaming, but my mom is so nice. Listen, I don't care how nice your mom is. You're 2 hours late for curfew, you didn't call, and you're drunk. You should get your head ripped off 100% of the time. 100% of the time. That's what happened, okay? That's just a fact, all right? Now, if your mom, when you walk in the door, you're like, hey, Mom, how's it going? And you haven't done anything stupid all day or whatever. Now, there might be a day when your mom's had a bad day, okay? But in general, your mom's a pleasant lady, whatever. 99% of the time, she's happy to see you, made cookies, says hi, whatever. She's joyous to see you, whatever. Once in a while, she's had a pissy day. And she yells at you about it. Oh, that sucks. Okay, whatever. In general, what you do does affect the way your mother reacts to you. Yes? When you're a little kid, you left your crap all over the floor. You didn't pick up after yourself, what have you. Oh, geez, my mom reacts a different way. How about that? She'd be a psychopath if she didn't. Okay? That's what parents are supposed to do, all right? Hey, this and this happened. Oh, I better jump on that, or I'm going to raise a horrible child, okay? And so that's how those things work. That's conditional probability. What's probability I get yelled at, given I came home late and I was drunk? Well, it should be 100% if you're a kid. Yeah, it should be. What's probability that I got yelled at when I came home on time and said hi to Mom? Well, hopefully it's small. Maybe you had a horrible mom. I don't know. But hopefully it's a smaller percentage because it depends. One thing depends on the other one. Okay? Your actions influence your mother's response. Okay? We will do one like this here too, just for a second. Kind of see what's what. Get back to this. This is a candy dish, in case you're wondering. These are M&Ms. I know, they're black. Looks really good. And some, let's do some red. Sure, why not? Cool. We need some blue. These are all the same size, in case you're wondering. I can't tell them apart by feel. Oh, that's one of those little ones. No. Cool. So by my count, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 10, 13, 17, 21, 25, 29, 32, 35, 37, 38, 39, 40 little M&Ms in there. Nice. So let's do this. If you were to reach in and you selected one, cool, then throw it back and select another. Does your first choice affect the second choice?
No.
I threw it back in. There's still 40 marbles? Can I tell them apart? So that's independent, yes? We call this with replacement. That is, I throw it back in. That means that they are independent. Okay? Independent. So if I were to ask you something like this, hey, what's the probability I get a black one and then a red one, and then I'm just going to say these are all today, right now, with replacement. Let's find out, shall we? Let's probably get a black one. So 8 out of 40. Nice. And how many reds are there? 6, 9, 13 reds out of 40, because I threw it back in, right? Here's a question. What do I do with those two numbers? Why would I multiply them? Why? That's what we did in statistics. Okay, before we go crazy, the correct answer is multiply, but let's think about why that is. Okay? Well, let's actually get a number here first, I guess. That's 1,600. 104, I think. That sounds about right. Whenever you hear the word and, whenever you hear the word and in probability, it always means multiply. Here's how I like to think of this. You go on Match.com or some other such place. Okay? Lady must be between 25 and 26. Okay. Seems kind of tight, but whatever. And must be taller than 5'8". And must be an EE major. And must make $30,000, $50,000. Let's go big. $70,000 or more a year. And must like English literature. And now, what's that look for? What's that look for? No. Go ahead. No, that's funny, but no. No, that's really funny, but no. Thank you. Extra credit for you, dear. Well done. Well done. No. Yes. What does that look for? Your look was precious. I loved it. Her look was like this. Why is it weird? That's right. Because each part of those is a tiny fraction of the population, yes? So the 25 to 26-year-olds is already a fairly thin slice, yes? So maybe 1/10 of all the people on Match, okay, whatever. And then times that by whatever percentage are EE majors. And so on and so on and so on. And then pretty soon there's down to like maybe one person left. Good luck with that, okay? In other words, in your mind, the more I said and, the more you're like, dude, that person does not exist, right? Because it's getting ridiculously small. In other words, you're taking fractions, times fractions, times fractions, times fractions, and they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller, yes? Now, when you hear the word or, you always think add, okay? That is, listen, blonde or brunette or redheads or brown hair. So basically everybody with black hair. Oh, yeah. Okay, would you be happy if the girl was, was an EE major or this or this or that or this or this or that? I guess, sure. Well, what are you saying? That you got a bigger target audience, yes? In other words, you've got more options to choose from whenever you hear the word or, okay? That will always be true. It's always or, think add, okay? Does he have a pulse? Okay, yes, we're good, okay. No, you probably should be a little more picky than that, okay? Nice. Now back to this guy. Again, I don't see the word and right here. Do you? Not stated, but it's implied. Yes? I got a black and then a red. Yes? In other words, I got both of them. Okay? Notice I said it in a particular order. In a particular order. What if I just wanted to get a black and a red one? What if I just wanted to get a black and a red, period, when it's all done? What would I have to do? Well, you could do black, then red. Or red, then black, right? Now, would it shock you to find that they're exactly the same probabilities? Nope. But remember, I could do this, or I could do this. In other words, it's twice as good a probability when I don't care about order. And you know this in your daily lives. The less picky you are, the more likely you are to get success, yes? Or to be happy, I guess that way, right? Well, happy. Happy with the results, the less particular you are. Oh my God, it must be this, and this. Or I'm going to be angry. Oh, well, all right, get ready to be angry because it's going to be ugly, right? The chances that it's all going to go your way, it's kind of slim. But if you're like this or this or this would make me happy, well, then you have a lot better chance, if you will, of being happy or whatever, because there's a lot more chances of that happening because you're less particular about things, okay? Again, with replacement is going to give us a better chance of things or is better or worse chance of happening, I should say that way. It's independent, but is it going to give us better or worse odds if I put it back in? Let's find out. We'll do another one of these. We'll put another one when we put them back just for fun, okay? So what's the probability that I get two reds? Cool. This is with replacement. Let's go. What do you got? Reds are out of 40. And then I put it back in and I reach in and I draw again and I get? Nice. Cool. Oops, out of 40, you moron. There you go. Which is 169 out of 1,600, yes? 10%? Ish. All right, cool. Now, let's say I did it without replacement. Okay? So probably I get two reds. So I pull one out. Cool, it's red. I reach in and grab another one, yes? So the first one was 13 out of 40 times, what's the second one? Nice. Cancel. Oh, I don't want to do it that way. Yes, I do. 3, 1, cancel. 3, cancel. 10. Cancel. Hey, it's 1/10. This is exactly 1/10. Exactly 1/10. What is this one? I need to know the exact percentage up here. What is this one?
10.56%.
Okay. Did I do the math on that right? Why does it feel dirty? What? What? 4 goes into 12 3 times. And 4 goes into 10. Or 40 10 times. That's right. And 3 and 3 cancel. What? Well, I didn't say 12 went into it. I said 4 goes into it. 4 goes into 40 10 times. And 4 goes into 12 3 times. Okay, I feel good about myself. I'm okay. 0.1 exactly. Okay, so which is the better probability of happening in this case? Again, it will depend to some degree, but yes, this in this case here, when I put it back in, there you go, it's slightly higher probability. Okay, again, it will depend a little bit. Once in a while, you can be careful of these things. So we can do a bunch of these. Okay, we will do a bunch more of these tonight. But again, I don't do a whole lot of this without replacement stuff. If I'm drawing names to see who won a prize at the door prize, is it with or without replacement? Mostly without, right? You can't really win the trip to Hawaii and the spatula set, for God's sakes. Don't be greedy. All right? You one or the other. All right? When you run a race, right? People running a race, right? Listen, can you finish first, second, and third? Not really very easily, no. It's one or the other, or dead last maybe. But you can't finish 1, 2, and 3. That's weird, okay? So once you've been selected, you can't get selected again, if you will. And by the way, who's selecting you? I don't know, fate, whatever, I don't know. Like someone reached into the great cookie jar of space and selected you to be number one. I don't know. But listen, you're running a race, okay? That person finished first. It's the similar process, okay? But again, without replacement. I need people to come help me to unload some stuff out of my car. All right, so I'm going to take names out of a hat. All right, Sam, cool. Sam, yeah, cool. Sam, cool. All right, so the three Sams and I, wait, it's the same Sam. That's weird, okay? So it would be probably, again, without replacement. Frequently in our daily lives, in these situations, when people are being chosen, it's without replacement, okay? Now, you're like, wait, at work, Jay, we have these giant piles, boxes, loads, pallets, whatever, of like thousands of doodads. I don't know, resistors, whatever's in the bucket. There are lots of them, okay? You reach in every few hours and take out a handful to do a sample on, see if they're the right size, shape, fatness, weight, whatever. And you set them on the table and we do an experiment on them. But Jay, you took like 100 of them out of there. Doesn't that change the probability? Picture this, a semi-load, a semi-trailer full of M&Ms. How many M&Ms are in a semi-trailer? That's the right number. A lot. It's not a candy dish. Am I right? If I say I swan dive into the back of this thing, and I come out and I empty my pockets, and there's like 30 or 40 M&Ms in my pockets, all right? And there's a bunch of reds and blues and oranges and whatever. Does it really change the probability that you reach in and select a blue out of that truck? No, because there's a ton of them in there, yes? Then maybe 40% are blue. Maybe there are. I don't know. What's 40% of a lot? It's a lot. The fact that you sampled out 20 or 30 of them, nobody cares, dude. In the U.S., there's 350-ish or thereabouts million people. God knows, I don't know. That I sampled 10,000 people to ask them what they feel about the new Diet Coke or something. But you didn't put their name back in the hat and grab a new person, Jay. Doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter. Think about that. What is 10,000 out of 350 million? Diddly squat. That's what it is. It doesn't matter a bit. Okay, and so keep that in mind. When you have a giant population, whether you put it back in or leave it out, doesn't make any difference at all. It's still going to be independent. Okay, we're not going to change the probability of this. If these doodads are somewhere in the neighborhood of, I don't know, let's say 2% defective, 2% defective. If I take out a sample of them, let's say 100 of them, in theory, 2 should be defective. Right? That's true. Let's see. What is 100 out of this giant? I'm going to kind of go back on this a little bit. 100. Let's say there's 100,000 of them. What is 100 out of 100,000? It's 1/1000th of the pot that I've taken out. 1/1000th of the pot. Have I affected anything by doing that? No. So again, if the population is large enough, with or without replacement, doesn't make any difference. But if you can kind of visualize it like a candy dish, like it's a small population, like 10 people, 20 people, 50 people even maybe, well then it matters, yes? Then obviously with replacement or without replacement matters. Once you get into a large population, it doesn't matter anymore, okay, whether you put them back in or not, because it has no real impact. By the way, what's the probability that Natasha's name is going to be drawn out of this pot of 350 million people? 1 in 350 million, okay? What's the chances that I draw her twice if I don't put her back in? Well, it's 0, because I can't really draw her twice if I kept her out the first time. That's dumb. But good news, what's probably, if I pull her out, that's 1 out of 350 million. I can't do math very good. And then I put her back in, stir the pot, and pull her out again. What? Yeah. And so what is this? Okay, it is for all intents and purposes 0, yes? In fact, your calculator may tell you to take a flying leap and just say, screw you, it's 0. I'd be shocked if it didn't, in fact. I would be shocked if it didn't. It's at 0. It won't even probably give you E minus 52 or something. It'll probably just go, screw it at 0. Okay? I know Excel will. I know Excel will do that. It should just go, no, I'm not doing it, Jay. Oops, equals 1 divided by 350, 123, 123 squared. Oh, she made a liar out of me. All right. In either case, it's in essence 0. Okay, it's not going to happen. So I don't have to worry about it. With a large enough sample, a large enough population, rather, don't care. There it is. It's 0 for all intents and purposes. Okay. Now, that sounds fun. All right. Let's do. What should we do next? All right. Cool. Let's talk about that. We're gonna do some examples of this later. We'll do some example problems later on. Mutually exclusive events. A lot of people know what this word means. At least they can put a definition to it ahead of time. And I don't really know why. What does it mean? Mutually exclusive. What? No, they're not independent. It has nothing to do with independence. Yes, that's right. Yeah, you could say that you're in one or the other. I like to say there's no overlap. Okay, you can't be both. If you like to think it that way. Some examples. My favorite one: pregnant, not pregnant. You can't kind of be pregnant. Okay, there's no overlap. One or the other. Pick a side. Okay, you could do dead or alive, of course. Well, he's pretty much dead. No, he's not. He's either dead or he's not. Okay? There's no overlap between the two of them. When I was a kid, you played soccer, you played football. There was no overlap. Sorry, pick one. Back then, too, you were in the band or you played football. There was no overlap because our band teacher was weird. She wouldn't let you do both. Not that I wanted to, but my other people I knew just quit because they didn't want to play. They wanted to do both, but she wouldn't let you, so they picked one. Yeah. Ooh, I know one. Here's one. The two classes that you want both meet at 6 o'clock on Monday nights. So being able to attend both of them is mutually exclusive. Yes? You cannot be both places at the same time. Oh, wait. My work, Jay. What do you mean? Yeah, they want me to do this, and this at the same time. Oh, yeah, you're right. Those are mutually exclusive events. You can't do all that stuff. Okay, I can't be traveling and be here. I can't do all this and go to these meetings. You pick one, all right? And that's a lot of times in our life we run into this issue where you're one or the other. Okay, there's no overlap between them. Okay, so mutually exclusive events are very nice. For instance, here's a good example. Well, actually, back here, let's back up. Wait, no, come back. No, come back. Somewhere back here, I even drew a picture. No. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, here we are. Wait. What are some things in this picture up here that are mutually exclusive? Okay, so the gender on this chart, yeah, Or, what else? What major you're in. So notice that the mutually exclusive events in this table are parallel to one another, yes? There is no overlap, yes? You can be, I know, it's crazy talk, it's crazy. It is possible to be an EE major and a female, according to this data, yes? Now, it's quite possible that in another college, based on a particular year, there aren't any. So based on that data set only, they're mutually exclusive. That year, at that college, perhaps. But of course, that's not true in general. That just happens to be maybe at that college at that time. Okay? So here's my question. Why you bother mentioning that to us, Jay? I'll tell you why. If I want the probability of A or B to happen, it literally would be the probability of A plus the probability of B. If A and B are mutually exclusive. What do I mean by that? I'm glad you asked. So the probability that you are a woman or an EE major on this chart back here, wherever it went, Nice. Nope. Aha! What is the probability, according to this data, that you're a woman or an EE major? $55? Where are you getting 55 at? You said 55.
50 divided by 50,098 plus 9.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I love that you did that. You're the first person who's ever done that. I'm going to write this down, okay? I'm just going to write this down. Don't anybody say anything. Don't say anything yet. So he said 50 out of 98. I love it. Plus 25 out of 98. I love that you said this. I love that you said this. What's wrong with this picture? I love it even more. Once in a while it'll happen where the numerator ends up bigger than the denominator. That really makes me happy. But what's wrong with this picture? Let's go back and look at the data. Can you see anything wrong with what he did? Hang on. What about these 19 gals right here?
Oh, yeah.
How many times did you count them? You counted them twice, didn't you? Yes? He counted them twice. Yes? Because he did 50 going one way. He counted 25 going the other way. He ended up counting those 19 girls twice. So to fix that, of course, a fella could do this. And you, my friend, just discovered how to solve the problem. So when you look at this, this is the probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of what? I will say A and B. Exactly. You're right. This right here is, in general, how you find the probability of A or B. Me personally, this is how I remember the formula. When I was a kid, we always were taught it two different ways. I have better things to memorize, okay? I don't know, rap crap and whatever else I have to memorize these days. I don't know, there's so much to memorize. I only memorize this format. Check it out. What is the probability of A and B if A and B are mutually exclusive? What would the probability of them both happening be if they're mutually exclusive? 0. So this thing here shortens up to this piece here, just this first part, if they're mutually exclusive, yes? Make sense? Now, me personally, this answer here is 56 out of 98, okay? But this is how I do it. From the table we had, I would have taken 50 right here. Plus the 6. That's what I would have done. From the table. I wouldn't have counted them twice. It makes sense? From the table, I wouldn't have done that. But if I don't have the table, I have no other way to go. I have to identify, all right, what's probably this happening? What's probably this happening? What's probably this happening? And follow the formula. But if I have a table, I'm not going to count them twice and subtract them off. That just seems a lot of work I don't have to do. Okay. So in general, this is how you do the probability of A or B. It's probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of them both happening, which of course is equal to 0 when they're mutually exclusive. That's right. So that goes away. Okay. Nice. Piece of cake. Nice. Nice. All right, so let's do a nice easy one here. Something boring, something easy. Let's do that, sure. So I need, what's the probability that I get, I'm going to select 2 cards from the deck. It's probably I get a black card and a 2. So a black card on one of the, when it's all done, I want a black card and a 2. Nice. Actually, do I want to do black and? Let's do black. Wait, let's do it. Let's do a nice easy one. Let's do 7 and a 2 first, and then we'll come back and do a harder one. Okay, there we go. It's a nice easy one, and we do this, and I'm going to do this without replacement. We'll do an easy one first to make our lives easier. How many 7s are there? Out of? Nice. without replacement, so 4 out of 51. So 16 out of something. 26. No, 2,500 and 2,651. No, that's not right. 2652? Yeah. Cool. Nice. Yeah, okay, cool. Nice. That's easy. That's fun. What's the probability that I get a black card or a jack? Okay, so on this one here, it's going to do one draw. Let's just do one draw on this one first. So I was just taking out one card. What is the probability it is a black card or a jack? I'll do the hard part. Okay? Black cards or a jack. How many you got? So 26. Yes, I like that. Plus, we can do it a couple of ways. Plus 4 gives me all of my jacks, yes? Are any of those counted twice? 2. Some people just go, hey, it's just plus 2, Jay. Yeah, whatever. It's whatever, dude. And so, in other words, that comes out to be 28 out of 52 fit the bill, yes? Yeah. Nice. Make sense? Nice. Cool. Non-mutually exclusive, obviously, because there is overlap there. Ooh, here's a fun one. Nice. Xbox. PlayStation. Switch. Look at me. I'm so proud of myself. Switch. That's enough. I don't care anymore. I'm sorry, it's a what you're playing, sir? Okay. These losers don't have a game console. Those poor people. All right, that says 40, not HO. 40. There you go. Cool. Hey, what's the probability that I get a person who has a PlayStation? Nice. Or a Switch? I don't know. Out of who? I don't know. I feel like out of everybody, I guess. I should probably add this up. That's 9, 49, 80, 180, 210, 267. So how many people have a PlayStation or a Switch? Okay, listen. If you are one of the people who has a 6, do you have a PlayStation or a Switch? I feel like you do have one or the other of them at least. Yes. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Unless I tell you otherwise. Listen, you cannot have both. All right. Unless I say that, you can have it. So how many people do you have? 103. It feels. I don't know. Is that enough? I feel like it should be 137. Shouldn't it be?
The people that also own Xbox.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So no. So yes. So listen. So anybody but the 100 and the 30. Yes. Anybody but the 100 and the 30 are the people I'm interested in. Yes. Does that make sense? So everybody, yes. Like you could add all this crap up, or you could go, wait, this loser and this loser I'm not interested in. Yes. So 137 of them out of the 167. Yes. Clearly there's overlap. What about these people over here that have the Wii? Don't laugh. I still have one in the closet somewhere. There it is. Whatever. Oh, I don't have to change probabilities. Oh, whatever. But sure. I don't know. So I just added 12, I guess. So 75, 87, 79, right? 79. Yeah, cool. All right. So what's the probability that you have an Xbox or a Wii? Notice that this time they are mutually exclusive, yes? So 134 plus 12 is 146, I think, out of 279. Cool. Clearly Xbox is the winner here. Okay, I don't know, whatever. There it is. Notice that when you guys looked at the 30 over here, these guys, what is that? And we're going to take a break right after this. The probability of the opposite of what you wanted to happen. Has a name, and we're very interested in that. So we say this, the probability of A plus the probability of A, and some books write it differently. Some books write it A with a little C up here. Some books write it A with a bar on top, but they mean the same thing, equals 100%. And this is the idea of what we call a complement. The complementary events, okay? So probability of rain is 40%. That means probability of not rain is the rest of it, 60%. What does not rain encompass? Everything else. Okay? But could it be snowing? Well, if I didn't say precipitation, so if I didn't say precipitating, I just said raining, then snow doesn't count. Okay? I don't know. Okay? Clearly it's the opposite of what you had. Okay? My son, my youngest, is big into soccer. Whatever. Anyway, a few years ago, the Timbers went on a, how did they phrase that? It was so dumb. It was, the Timbers are in a, they didn't say winning streaks. They didn't say that. An unbeaten streak. Yeah, thank you. And I'm like, oh, you're doing pretty good, huh? All right, right on. Because from a football standpoint, unbeaten means you're winning. Anyway, but they're like, they won one, they've tied 8 in a row or something, and they haven't lost. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, soccer.
Oh. So literally it's losing or not losing, yes? So in some places it's winning or losing. In other places it's losing or it's, whatever the rest of this crap is over here. And for soccer it's, we won, we tied, we just played, whatever, I don't know. We're unbeaten, all right. Anyway, it is what it is. But I remember sitting there going, that's the first time I ever heard that. I'm like, wait, they're unbeaten. Well, they tied. I'm like, that just feels weird. But there it is. It is one of the complementary events. Yes, that idea that when you think, a lot of times you think winning and losing, but in reality it's winning, or it's losing, I guess, over here. Well, it's losing in this case. And then the rest of what can happen over here. Well, they didn't lose. Well, they didn't. You're right. They didn't lose there. It's all the rest of this stuff, okay? And so all the rest of that's wrapped into one piece. It didn't rain today. Well, did it mean it was sunny? Nope. Did it mean it was warm? Nope. It just meant it did not rain on me today. That's all it means, okay? It's the rest of the percentages, okay? Complementary events, really cool because oftentimes this is a bugger to figure out. That's oftentimes really hard to figure out. So the easy way to figure it out is to solve for the complement and subtract it from 100%, okay? So for instance, let's say you want to have 10 children someday. Good for you. Nice. You haven't started yet, so you can actually play this game. If you have kids yet, you can't think about this mind game. It's weird. You can have 10 kids. Good for you. And you're like, cool. What's the probability? Like literally you're going to this, you're going to have 10 kids. For you, you must have at least one girl. I have to have at least one girl. By the way, is there a pretty good chance you'll have at least one girl? That's a very good chance. The only way that you would be, quote unquote, disappointed with your 10 children is if what?
They were all boys.
They were all boys. So to me, the complement would be 1/2 to the 10th power. Boy and 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 boy. 10 times, yes? And then 1 minus that, one possibility would be everything that was left. What is that? 1 minus 0.5 to the 10. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of 90 some odd percent. 0.9.
99.9%.
There you go. Whatever. So the chances that you have at least one girl out of 10 kids, pretty good. It's pretty good. It's like, 99.9% chance of that happening. That's right. I didn't have to figure them all out because it could be, well, I could get all girls. That'd make me happy. I could get one girl. Wait, when would the one girl show up? Well, it could be the first kid, or the second kid, or the third kid, or the fourth kid, or the fifth. Wait, I could have 2 girls. It could be the first 2, the last 2, or any number in between. Or I could have 3. Oh my God. Or 4. That's too much work, dude. Let's just find the opposite. There's only one outcome that would make me unhappy, apparently, because I'm shallow. So if I had all boys, that'd be the only time I'd be sad. Okay? So 0.5 to the 10th power, that's the only one I could be upset about. 1 minus that means that's everything else. Okay? You didn't ask me specifically what's probably I get exactly 7 girls, because I could do that, but you didn't ask me that. You just said I want to have at least 1 girl. That's what you said. And I did. I found it. By God, it's 99% chance of that happening. Almost 100%. It'd be very strange if it didn't happen. By the way, probabilistically speaking, you shouldn't do this. But if someone tells you, yeah, we had 10 kids and they're all boys, you should fight back the urge to, nice job, freak, or something like that, or comment about it, because they've all heard it before. Because yes, that it would be weird. It would be very strange to have 10 kids of all the same gender. Very strange. There's a very small chance of that happening. Yeah. But again, that's what makes life fun, is to see the weirdness in the world. All right, so today, keep going, I should say. That's not what I want. Okay, so let's do this. Not that. Let's do this. Cool. Question. Little children line up for recess. There's 8 kids. How many ways can they line up at the door? In how many orders? Hang on. Don't say anything yet. Still drawing pictures.
Is that hair or horns?
That's her hair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more. Mm-hmm.
Well, they're just all neck.
Yep, she's a tall gal. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that looks like. The kid's angry.
One kid's husband listed 90.
Cool, whatever. Now here we go. So, how many ways can I line up for recess? How many different ways? Keep yourself. How many ways can you line up the door?
40,320.
How'd you do that, sir?
Multiply the 8 times the 7 times the 6 times the 5 times the 4 times the 3.
Why did you do this?
And then
Why did
skip the
you?
1 because I knew what it was.
Why did you do that? You're totally right, by the way. Nice job. 40,000. What'd you say?
40,320.
Nice.
Because after the first kid lines up, then I have 7 more possibilities.
Ah.
In fact, those into the original 8, and then
Again, without replacement. Right. So
Without
8
replacement.
choices for the first, and then
I've
7.
got the 6, and then 5 each time I'm taking on the way.
Nice. And Sam over here. I know what the answer is. That's cool. It's cool. It's 8 factorial, we say. That's 8 factorial is 40,320. There are frequent times we want to do this quickly, so we say 8 factorial, okay, or 10 factorial, or whatever it happens to be. Now, calculators have this. So, on your TI-89, let's do that one first. I keep forgetting to add the stupid emulator. Remind me before I go home tonight. I'm going to put an emulator on this freaking thing. Don't let me forget before I go home tonight. Thank you. TI-89. So let me see. You type in the number 8, and then you go second math, which is on the 5 key. I'm sorry, second 5, which is the math key. Then I think it's 7 probability, and then if you're not smart and figure it out from there, you got problems. Number 1 maybe, or 2. Okay? So this is on the TI-89. Second, 5, 7, and then it's like 1 or 2 or 3 or something. Okay? And then enter. I'm not wrong. I'm right, aren't I?
Yeah, it's the first option.
First option. Nice. Nice. Okay, TI-84s, 83s, any of those? Anybody have one of those?
iPhone. It has a button right there.
Yep. 84, 84? 84. So on the TI-84, 83, they're all the same. Whatever, plus titanium, whatever it is. Anyway, it's 8. And then the math button. And then you can arrow over to PRB. And then you will find your exclamation point hiding in there. Do you see it? Anybody else have one? Instincts? The instinct. Yes. So you'd go 8, menu, probability. It's right there somewhere. See it? Nice. Nice. Anybody else? All I have is freaking Excel. Cool. Check it out. But I only have Google Sheets. OMG, Osh. Same. And watch. Equal. There's a evil person on my thing. What just happened? What happened? Equals fact of 8. That's how you do it on a spreadsheet, in case you're wondering. So like I don't know, you're on Jeopardy someday. Yeah. Oh, it's fact of 8. Yeah, there it is. Cool. Nice. Okay. So we will use that if you need to. Again, I don't care what calculator you use, but be able to get here a little quicker. Again, this hinges on the fact that I have this many choices, this many, this many, this many, this many, this many, and this many choices each time. Frequently in life, we'll have choices like that. I'm reminded of when I was 18, was put on the prom court. I was not happy about it because I didn't want to get a tux. The girl that I was kind of seeing sort of at the time went to another school. Her prom was the same night, so we couldn't go together, whatever. So my friends are like, you should ask this girl. I'm like, she's got a boyfriend, you idiots. No, good news, he dumped her. I'm like, you guys are sick. No, she has her dress. Just go ask her. Okay, fine. So I go see her in the hallway the day before the thing. And then she goes, who are you taking to prom? I go, you. She's like, oh, okay, cool. So we go out to dinner. It's the first time I ever been out to a fancy dinner with a girl. And so we sit down, and they bring the menus, and I'm hungry. And she comes back 20 minutes later, and Karen goes, I'm going to need some more time. And so, okay. So then the gal walks off, and 20 minutes later she comes in. Karen goes, I'm going to need some more time. For an hour. I was so hungry. And it occurred to me somewhere in that time frame, this next thing. I was sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, as I'm trying to make conversation with her, I'm going, what is taking her so long? And I'm doing the math in my head. And if I had a paper and pencil, I would have just done it on the napkin and I wouldn't even have cared. I don't care. I've just done the math right in front of her. But it occurred to me that there were 15 entrees. And this is a fact. I remember like it was yesterday. It was not yesterday. 15 entrees. Of course, you had a choice of soup or salad. She went salad. So you had like 10 dressings. Probably had 5 potatoes. I don't remember that part. I don't know, probably, 4 or 5 bread products. With the sourdough or the French roll, a biscuit perhaps, some cornbread. I don't know. And then we were kids, so 12 drinks. I don't know, whatever. Whatever. How many choices did she have for dinners? How do you find out? Why? You're right, but why? You know why. Intuitively, you know why. Why? But because listen. Each time you play, how many choices do you have? Do you have to have an entree and a dressing? Yes. And a potato? Yes. And a this, and a this, and a this. It's all about the and, yes? Yeah. So it's 15 times 10 times 5 times 4 times 12. When that busts that out, that's a lot. 150 times 20 is 3,000, 36,000. Yeah, sounds about right. 36,000 different dinner combinations she had to choose from. I'm pretty convinced that they were all equally likely in her head. But think about it. What else was taking her so long? Right? Let's say I could have the chicken breast, yes, with a vinaigrette and a scalloped potato and a cornbread and a Mountain Dew. No. I could have the chicken breast, yes, with the Roquefort and the cornbread and the scalloped potato and the Mountain Dew. No. Let's try that with the baked potato. It took her forever. Anyways, I would like to see her again because I'd like to actually tell her this story. Because I never told her at the time because I'm sure she wouldn't have been pleased. But I think it'd be funny now. But anyway, every time I teach statistics, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Because this is the first time that ever occurred to me. I'm sitting there going, what is taking her so long? And then I'm like, oh, that's why. Nice. Because in my head, I was doing this little number. There's like 15 little branches coming off of here. And then off of each one of those, there's 10 more little branches. And off of those, there's 5 more little branches. And when it's all done, there's 36,000 little outcomes when it's all finished. Okay? In other words, when we're going to ask a question like this, what's the probability that one of those outcomes has salmon in it or something? I don't know, but I know my denominator is going to be 36,000 because that's the total number of outcomes. Okay? So frequently what's going to happen is this. In order to do our probabilities, I mean, if all you had to do was put a number on top of a number, any idiot can do it. All right? Yeah, put a number on top, put a number on the bottom. Okay, you're done. Cool. Awesome. That's probability. It's finding out how many favorable outcomes there are and how many total outcomes there are. And so we need a way of counting those. Okay? And so this is what is referred to as the first or the fundamental counting principle. And the idea is this: you just multiply the number of choices at each, I'm just going to call them decision point. Decision point. So in the case of who's lining up at the door for recess, I guess fate or whoever the fastest kid is deciding who's going to be second in line, who's going to be third in line, or whatever. Maybe Mrs. So-and-so is drawing popsicle sticks. I don't know. Someone's deciding, okay? When Karen was deciding, she had to pick salmon or something first. All right, she picked salmon, cool. And then, so there was 15 choices. She had 15 choices for that one. Then she went to the next thing. There was 10 choices, and so on and so on and so on. You know why it didn't take me very long? Because back then I grew up on a farm. Well, I grew up on a farm. I still grew up on a farm. There maybe were 3 entrees that I would eat. I don't eat steak out. I don't eat pork out. I just won't do that. So like a good pasta dinner, maybe salmon. Yeah, there's not too much I'm looking at in an entree. Yeah. Back then I was a Thousand Island man. There was no other dressing. That's it. That's all there was. I've morphed. All right, but whatever. Maybe I had 2 choices for potato that would make me happy, but I don't know. Listen, I make the best biscuits. That's just, I'm not bragging. I'm sorry, it's a fact. I don't like sourdough. I'm not a big fan of croissant. So there's probably 1 choice here, and back then I was a Mountain Dew man. So I had 6 choices for dinner. That's it. That's why it didn't take very long. Okay, it's why it didn't take. I literally could go through all 6 choices just like this. I could do the salmon and the baked potato. I could do the salmon and the scalloped potato. No, I could do the chicken breast and the scalloped potato, chicken breast and baked potato. Whatever the other thing is in baked potato, scalloped potato. Yep, that's the one I want. Those 6, there they are, done. Move on. Okay. I could literally have gone through them all 5 or 10 times, still been done before the lady came back the first time. Okay? I am convinced if there had been a wine list, we'd still be sitting there 30 years ago. We'd still be sitting there. Because, wow. Okay? Wow. It's ridiculous. Okay? Lots of choices. Now, when you answered this question on the previous page, this is exactly what you did, yes? You said there's 8 choices, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, go. Beautiful. So here's the question. These little devils are going to line up for recess. Oh, but wait. Only 3 kids get to go. Ha! So there's 8 kids, but only 3 get to go. How many ways can they line up for recess? How many choices do you have for the first kid? Is it 8 or 3? 8, and then?
7, 6.
Nice. Hey, this looks very similar to what I had before, except I got rid of the 5, the 4, the 3, the 2, and the 1. Somehow I've gotten rid of them. So before I do this, I would have to have this in the denominator to get rid of it, yes? Well, hang on now. Hold up now. How do you end up with 5 when you started with 8 and 3? We started with 8 and 3. How do you get 5? 8 minus 3. That's right. So in other words, what you have is you had 8 factorial over 8 minus 3 factorial, which is what I just wrote down. 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 over 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And the answer is 336. Is that right? Nice. So this would be very good for line up the door for recess because apparently order matters to little children. If you didn't know, try subbing in a little kid's classroom someday. It's not fun. The little buggers are mad about everything. That's my turn to lead the line. You didn't do it like Mrs. So-and-so did. We don't like you. Okay? Now, clearly when you run a race, this is the kind of deal you do for running a race, yes? I promise you there will be something on the test about running a race, some kind of a race. It could be a race you've never heard of before, the steeplechase, the blah, 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 blah one. It never fails. Some year I ask something about NASCAR routinely every 3 or 4 years. I'll run in it. I don't know anything about NASCAR. You're familiar with the concept of racing, though, aren't you? Well, yeah. So when they run a race, what's the point? Well, to see who finishes first. I'm like, typically, yes. And second and third, perhaps? Well, okay, yeah.
Ain't first or last.
Okay, that's true. Thank you, Ricky Bobby. Now, here's the question. Are they all equally likely to happen? Are they all equally likely to come in first place?
No.
No. If you've been alive anywhere, anytime, when I was a kid, I was a fat kid. Hey, Jay and the other kids are going to have a race. Is Jay going to win? No. No, he's not. Is he going to finish in front of the other fat kids? Probably. Probably. I wasn't the fattest kid in my class, but I was a very fat child. It was fat. And it's, it's whatever. I outgrew it, I guess. Whatever. Then I caught up with me again later. But anyways, I was fat. And the idea is that if I got in a race, I wasn't winning that thing. I wasn't winning it. But could I win? I guess every other normal sized and scrawny kid fell down and hurt themselves, maybe. But I wasn't going to win the race. Now, if back in the day when Usain Bolt was in a race, was he likely to finish dead last? No. First or second. That's it, right? I mean, that dude was fast. You would not bet on him to take last place. No, it's not going to happen. What about that scrub from random country that made it to the Olympics? Well, okay, the dude's not slow. He made it to the freaking Olympics, okay? But he is slow by comparison to the other guys that are in the race, yes? Is he going to win? No, he's not going to win. No one's going to win. What about that horse? Could that horse win the race? His back looks like this. I don't think so. He could win. It's not likely to win, okay? So one of the possibilities, one of those 336 outcomes might be the great big chubby kid winning the race. Okay, it's not very likely that he will win, but it's possible. It's just not very likely, okay? So please understand just because there's 336 outcomes, they're not all equally likely outcomes, all right? If you've been paying attention to any kind of, over the years, I kind of like keep track of NASCAR. When Danica Patrick was in, she didn't win any races, and no one would go, she's the favorite to win this week. She wasn't. Could she win? Of course she could. Would you be surprised if she did? Yes, based on the way she was racing back then, yes. But a little surprised. Is it possible? Yes. Would you bet money on her? I wouldn't. Maybe you would, but I wouldn't. If you're not going to bet money on the person, if you say this, I'm not betting money on that person, then what you're telling me is it's not equally likely as anybody else. You guys what you're saying? Okay? I find that humorous. People, especially in today's PC world, are always about does it seem fair? Would you put money on it? Well, no. I feel like you just made my point, okay? If you won't put money on it, there's a difference, okay? If you won't put money on it, if you want to put money on it, I'll bet you right now. Whoa, now. Again, back to, who's driving the pickup or whatever. I will bet you $1 million as a woman. Well, you better take that bet all day, every day, all right? That truck with a ladder rack and everything on it, take that bet all day, every day. And I'll take you 3 or 4 times today on that bet on you. If you say that you bet it's a woman taking that, I'll take that bet all day long. And I might lose once in a while, but I feel confident that I'm going to win more often than I'm going to lose. And so what does that say to me? It says that there's a difference, okay? So just be aware of that. They're not all equally likely to happen. This is a name. This is called a permutation. It is one kind of counting. It is when you have n things, you take r of them at a time. This is important, and order matters. Okay? Races, order matters. Little children, it matters what order they line up at the door for recess. There are certain things in life, order matters. There are other times it doesn't matter at all. Okay? I just want to get picked. The lifeboat on the Titanic, for instance, comes around. I don't care who I sit by. I just want on. Okay? Don't care who's sitting next to me. Oh, rats. I wanted to sit by so-and-so. We'll worry about that later, pal. Let's just get on the boat. Okay? I just want on. That's all I want. Okay? So sometimes order matters. Sometimes it doesn't. So a permutation looks like this. And the formula is this. It's typically written thusly. It's n factorial over n minus r factorial. Nice. And you're like, does my calculator do it? Yes, in fact, it does. So on the TI-89s, you go second, 5, 7, and then you will find NPR, parentheses. And then you type in 8, 3. Voila, you're done. TI-83, 84s, you're going to go 8, and then you're going to go math, arrow over to PRB, NPR, 3, enter. Okay, who else? Inspires, menu, probability, NPR, parentheses, 8, 3, I think, just like the 89. What about the Excel? This is just creeping me out. I don't know how I did that. Equals permute, 8, 3. Boom, 336. Again, I'm more concerned that you know how to get where we're going than that you can memorize that formula. That's just not my thing. I want you to understand where it's coming from, okay? I think you should feel comfortable with it. And maybe on the test, maybe I'm a jerk. Maybe I do this. Well, I am a jerk. But maybe I do this to you on the test. Do it by hand. Oh, cool. What is this reduced to if you do it by hand? 17, yada, yada, all the way down. The other one's going to be 13 all the way down, yes? So what will be left on top? That's right. And then on the bottom, we got one of these. Ta-da! And the crowd goes wild. Okay? Maybe I do that to you on the test. I doubt it. But maybe. I doubt it. Okay? So, I'm more concerned that you understand how to use the material than I am that you know how to do some random formula. It's just not my favorite way to do it. Okay? Now, we're going to do a little activity for the next part of the class. You need to work with someone. So, what I have right here is I have one item. I feel like I could take it or leave it. So, watch me leave it. I don't want you. Watch me take it. Cool. I feel like for one item, there was two choices. You could choose one item. You could choose 0 items, which is totally doable. Or I could choose one item. And in essence, it becomes a take it or leave it situation. What if I had 2 items? Sure, here they are. Cool. What could I do? I could choose neither one of them. Bye. How many ways can you do that? 1. That's right. How many ways could you choose one item out of these 2? 2. And how many ways could you choose 2? What? 1. That's right. Nice. Now, I would like to continue this chart for 3, 4, and 5 items. Okay? Now, obviously with 3 items, here they are. Your choices are I could choose none of you, 1 of you, 2 of you, or all 3 of you. For 4 items, none, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yes? So whatever it is, there's going to be one more thing than I have stuff for. Okay? Now the reason I do this, okay, because clearly on choose, there's 3 items, I can choose 3, obviously, yes? Always can choose 0, can go up to the number that I have, okay? I'd like you to talk to the person next to you. Me personally, I like to physically manipulate things like this. If you're going to do that, word of caution. I usually leave my left hand on one of them and then move my other hand. When you do this and that, you lose track of where you are. And then you're like, oh, fart. Did I count that one? I don't remember. Okay? So I find it easier to keep a hand or maybe a hand on 2 of them at the same time and then touch the other ones as I'm counting. Just a thought. Some people like to go, let's see, I got Jenny and Steve and Tracy, cool, whatever. And I could do Jenny and Steve and Jenny and Tracy. And some people like to do this. Good for you. Okay, good for you. If that makes you happy, knock yourself out. There are several other methods. I'm interested always to see who comes up with the coolest method. So I will share the coolest method I've ever seen later in the class after we have some time to do this. So let's take the answers that you were seeking. 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, 4, 6, 4, 1, 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, 1. That's kind of hard to read. Yes, yes. If you remember back in the day, you may have remembered Pascal's triangle. Shh. If you've never read Pascal, if you've never seen Pascal's triangle, you are missing out, friend. So the pattern is thus. One of the patterns is you add the two numbers above it. Yes, 6 plus 4 is 10. This would work nicely. In fact, if you wanted to come down here to row like 42, and you wanted to find how many ways you could choose 7 out of 42, you could totally do it. Problem is Pascal's triangle is kind of a bugger to recreate. Okay? Not the coolest thing on the planet. It's cool. Turns out I know a lady who wrote a thesis about this. All the different patterns in this thing. There's more than just that pattern. It's pretty cool. It's kind of weird, though. It's kind of strange. I didn't do that one. Now, turns out, though, there's a cooler way to do this. Last year, I had this lady who was a computer science major in class, and she was working on 5, choose 2. Or she's on the 5 column, okay? Let's just say she's on the 4 column. It's less work. I looked over her shoulder, and I saw her doing this. Now, I'm a math teacher, so I know what she's doing. The question is, why is she doing this? So I sat there, and I was quiet for a minute, and I watched to see where she was going with this.
Just trying to get in my head.
Now, the question is, why was she doing this? What was she trying to do? Why binary?
Because you either do or don't.
That's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 outcomes. Yes? How many of these outcomes had none of them selected? 1. In other words, 4, choose 0. There's one way that happened. 4, choose 1 is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4, choose 1. There was 4 ways for that to happen. 4, choose 2 is here, 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 and here, and here, and here. There's 6 of them. 4, choose 3 was also 4, and 4, choose all 4 happened one time. And if you add those up, 1 plus 4 plus 6 plus 4 plus 1 is 16 outcomes. Okay? I looked at that and I was just like, that is the coolest freaking thing I've ever seen in my life. If you know binary at all, it's just counting. It's cool because binary makes perfect sense because I took them or left them. That's exactly what binary means. And I'm like, oh, I'll be dang. That is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. Now, interesting to note that this one here, where I counted it, notice that I counted it as choosing 1, yes? I would argue I was also choosing 3 at the same time, was I not? I'm taking 1, but I'm choosing to leave 3 behind, correct? So, as you're doing these problems, what did you notice about 5, choose 2, and 5, choose 3? What did you notice? I'll go back, I'm sorry. You want to finish right now? I'm sorry. You jumped the gun, I'm sorry. What did you notice about 5, choose 2, and 5, choose 3? No, they're exactly the same numbers, aren't they? 5, choose 2, and 5, choose 3 are exactly the same number of combinations, right? Mm-hmm. Yay, everyone agrees with me. Woohoo! That's right, they're exactly the same. Why? Because when I'm choosing 2 to come with me, I'm choosing 3 to stay put. When I choose 3 to come with me, I'm choosing 2 to stay put. It's the same outcomes, dude. It's the same. It has to be the same. So, keep these in mind. 5, choose 2 has to equal 5, choose 3. In fact, n choose x has to equal n choose n minus x always. 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 Doesn't matter. What is 100 choose 63? I don't know, but I do know that it's equal to 100 choose 37. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Every time. Take it to the bank. Okay? Again, don't know what it is. Don't care. What is anything choose 0? 1. What is anything choose all of them? What is anything choose 1? N. What is anything choose n minus 1? That is 4 choose 3, 5 choose 4. It's n. Hey, why is that true, Jay? Because, check it out, x and minus x. Yes, they have to be the same. Kaboom! Those are some of the patterns that we really, really like. They're awesome. Boy. Not a hard concept, though. You're like, wait, how do I do the math on that, though? What's that? Yes? Nice. How do you do it? Literally, if this is 100% correct, we're just done. I'm shutting it down. We're leaving. Okay, go ahead. No pressure.
The formula was 2 to the power of n. For if you have like 5 items, and you can
So the total number of outcomes. You're right. Why is that? So if there was 5 items, there are 2 to the 5th outcomes. You're 100% correct. Why? This is not go home quality, but this is really good. It makes me happy. Why is this? Yes. Well, it comes back to the first counting principle, isn't it? You get 2 choices for the first thing. Take it or leave it. And 2 choices, and 2 choices, and 2 choices, and 2 choices. Yes? Which is totally correct. That's awesome. That wasn't the formula I was looking for, so I'm not going to quit right now. Okay, but we're almost done. So, what I was going to go for is this. If you have n choose x, we call this a combination. And the formula is this, or n choose r. I probably should stick with r. That's how your book I think does it. By the way, check it out. Some books write it this way. I hate these books. These are the same thing. I remember the first time I saw this term on an exam. I said, "What now? Why?" This is kind of the antiquated method of writing. Typically, we write it this way nowadays. Just be aware. Now, the formula is thus. You're like, it's the same. When you divide by r factorial again, you get rid of all the repeats. Okay? So the original part, n over n minus r, that part right there is a permutation. Permutation means that Bob and then Sue is different than Sue than Bob. So when you divide by r factorial, you get rid of all the repeats. And you get just how many total outcomes you have that are 100% different from one another. So for instance, let's do this. Let's do 4, choose 2. We know the answer is supposed to be 6, yes? Permutation says that's not true. Permutation says it's 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 over 2 times 1 says the answer is 12. That's what it says. Okay? Well, it would be true if you had J, B, C, D, gross. If these are our people, I get JB, JC, JD, BC, BD, CD. Or but if order doesn't matter, these two are the same, yes? So order doesn't matter, I get rid of these guys, yes? So in other words, there's 2 times too many stuff here, yes? Which is why we're dividing by r factorial. I took 2 at a time. So if I divide by another 2 factorial, which is just 2, what do I get? 6. That's my answer. Okay? So this is your formula. If a person wanted to find 17, choose 11, for instance, one could do 17 factorial over 11 factorial because of this times 6 factorial because of that. If I was doing this by hand, what? 17 minus 11 is 6. I did them backwards. They should be backwards on there, but anyway. So I should have 17 times, again, if I'm doing this by hand, divided by 6 factorial, 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. I feel like 6 times 2 is 12. That's cool. 3 times 5 is 15. So that's cool. And stop it. 4 goes into 16 4 times. And so you'd be left with, I don't know, 17 times 4 times 14 times 13. Again, if you're doing it by hand. Okay? But we're not going to do it by hand. But if you were, that's how you can go about it. Okay? Now, on your calculators, in the exact same place you were previously, you either will do NCR 17, 11, or you'll do 17 NCR 11, or you will do on Excel, you do equals combin 17, 11. Bless you. Okay? One of those 3 methods. Again, combinations, order does not matter. Order doesn't matter. What'd you get? 12,376. Bam. Okay? Those are unique. That is, if Bob, Sue, Jackie, Fred, all 11 of them are in there, that's a one deal. They cannot be mentioned at the same time again. They're just one time. I don't care if Bob and Sue, I don't care. Order does not matter. Okay? Now, this will be the last thing I want to talk about before we go home. There'll be a follow-up to this. Somewhere I had a pot of marbles over here. My pot of marbles. There they are. I'm going to copy them because I'm lazy. Now this time I'm going to reach in. I'm going to select a handful of marbles. Now, if you were like me, somewhere back in your life, you complained because your gravy touched your peas or something and your dad screamed at you, "God dang it, it's all going to the same place, you idiot." And he was right. He was not wrong. Okay? The idea that it doesn't really matter whether I got the yellow marble or the green M&M first or the yellow M&M first, because they all taste like, M&Ms. Okay? When I deal you a handful of cards, what's the first thing you do when you pick up your hand? What's the first thing you do?
Look for the aces.
I must put all the clubs together and all the aces. So does it matter what order they came into your hand?
No.
No, because you're going to rearrange them anyway.
Uh-huh.
Many times in our lives, we're going to have this kind of a situation where, look, all I want to know is how many different combinations are in my hand, yes? Because what am I? I'm going to mix them around anyways. Look, I grabbed a handful of marbles. That's cool. Neat. Does it really matter which one came out first? No. Can you tell one yellow M&M from another yellow M&M? The answer is no, you can't. Okay? Therefore, order does not matter because it's just a freaking M&M, dude. Okay? So here's the game. Suppose you did this. You're going to reach into here. There are 40 marbles. You are going to choose 7 of them. Cool. What is the probability that you get 2 black, 2 red, 1 orange? By the way, 0 of everything else, obviously, yes? Cool. How many black marbles are there? Or M&Ms? Or...
That's only 5.
Oh, I suck at counting. Pardon me. Thank you. 1 red, or 1 green, I mean. And 1 blue. There we go. Cool. Awesome. Now it's 7. Which actually is funny because it would have proved my point in a minute. How many blacks are there? 8, and we're going to choose 2 of those. And so multiply. We're going to take the reds. There are 13 of them. We're going to choose 2 of them. And there are 4 green. We're going to choose 1. And 7. And we're going to choose 1. And 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Choose 1. Is that right? If you've done it correctly, the numbers on the left on top better add up to what? Yep. And the numbers on the right better add up to 7. okay? Which I would have failed in a minute when I went to add them up a minute ago, okay? But that's how I like to do it. Even if you're choosing 0, I like to account for it, okay? Because then it's one less thing to screw up, okay? Now, what does 8 choose 2? It is 28. 13 choose 2 is 78. 4, 7, and 8 over a giant number. Let me give me this bottom number first, just for fun, will you? Somebody? It's large. That's the right number. Go ahead. Yep.
1864356.
Is that right? Yeah. Sweet. Now, that's 18 million possible outcomes, okay? There's 18 million outcomes. Even the most likely one to happen is not going to be very likely to happen, yes? You have 100% to divvy up amongst 18 million outcomes. Even the most likely one is not going to be very likely to happen. Does that make sense? It might be like a 6% chance to happen. Oh my, 6%, that's really good. It might be where 6% is the most likely one to happen, which means that none of them are very terribly likely, yes? Hey, so what do you get on top? You times all that out. For a percentage of doodly squat. Nothing, not much. 2.6%? Oh, okay. No, there was a nodded head or two, so I'll buy that for a nickel, sure. What is the probability? Check it out. Probability that I get 5 oranges and 2 green. I don't know, but I know it's not likely. Why do I know it's not likely? Besides the fact that there's 18 million outcomes. Because 5 oranges, I'm basically getting all the oranges, yes? I'm getting half of the greens, for crying out loud, and I'm ignoring everything else. This is not going to be likely. So I'm going to have 8 choose 0. And go ahead and account for that. 4 choose 2. 7 choose 0. 8 choose 5. That's kind of ridiculous. And 13 choose 0. Again, if I've done it correctly, this should add to 40 and 5. This, of course, is 1. This is 1. This is 1. This is 6. And I have no, wait, don't tell me. 8 choose 5 would be 8 times 7 times 6 divided by, I can't do that in my head. No, yes I can. 56, isn't it? Yeah. Nice! Which that means that's 336 out of 18.6 million. Which means basically, yeah, it's not going to happen, yes? In essence, it's not going to happen. Right? And again, you knew that going into it. You knew that going into it. I didn't get any of the green, any of the reds, and I didn't get any of the blacks, which are the most prevalent. I took half of the greens. There's hardly any greens in there. That's not very likely to happen. And that's exactly what the math tells us. Okay? Questions, comments on that? Combinations are a kick in the butt. All right? Now you're like, Jay, I want to do a poker hand before we leave. Okay, one poker hand. I want the probability of getting two clubs and 3. Let's do a nice easy one first. 3 hearts. I guess we'll do 2 because I want to do a nice easy one too. This is a nice easy one. Okay, how many cards am I choosing? Or being chosen for? 5 out of how many? So 52 choose 5 is my denominator. I have 13 clubs. I'm going to choose 2 of them. I have 13 spades. I got none of them. I had 13 diamonds. I didn't take any of those. And 13 hearts. I'm choosing 3. Voila. 52, choose 5. I used to know that number. 1, 7, 6. I don't remember. I can't do it in my head anymore. That's so cool. What'd you get? What'd you get?
2,598,000.
That's my denominator? Nice. What's my numerator look like? Those are both 1s. Please don't type those in. The calculator will laugh at you. Yeah, I wish it actually would. But yeah, 13, 2, 0, 1. What'd you get? This should be 78 again. Yeah, whatever. What do you get? 2,308 on top?
22,000.
Or what percent? 0.86%?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'd buy that for a nickel. Sure. Nice. Does it matter what order they were dealt to me in? No, that's why we're using combinations, right? Because as soon as you pick them up, there you go, right? Away you go to town. Is this full house?
No, it's not.
It's not. But this would how you would do that. Full house is a little trickier though, right? So what do you gotta do? Let's try a full house before we go. So what's my denominator gonna be? 52, choose 5. Okay. So what has to go here?
Has to be a bunch of 4s.
13, choose 3, right? Why? All right, so hang on, I'm sorry, not 13, sorry. 4, choose 3. Hang on, I got a little carried away. 4, choose 3, right? And then what? Times 4, choose 2. And the other 48 cards you chose how many of? 0. That's right. That's right. So that part there you all agree with me, yes? This is for one specific full house, correct? But how many different full houses could I get? No. How many different kind of cards could you have for your first part of your full house? 13.
And 12 for the second.
So whatever this number is,
156.
times it by 156. Because there are 156 different full house combinations, yes? And would order matter in this case? Well, yes, because you could get 3 aces and 2 kings, or you could get three kings and 2 aces, right? It matters, right? But they'd still be both full houses, right? Same probability of happening, same probability of happening each time, yes? The only difference would be is when you bust it out, is you have to account for all of that. Now, listen, I'm no math guy, but 4 choose 3 is 4. 4 choose 2 is 6. This is 1. 24 times 156 is not a big number. Over, what is this? What was the bottom? Read me the whole number. I want to bust the whole thing out.
2598960.
8960. Cool. So go ahead and bust this out. Give me a percentage here. 0.00009. Yeah. So it's a fairly small chance that you get a full house. This is why, if you can keep your pants on when you get a full house dealt to you, you should probably win the game frequently. Okay? Because it's not likely to happen. Now, what is something that is less likely to happen? 4 of a kind. 4 of a kind. Yeah, 5 of a kind is less likely. Yes. Yeah, 4 of a kind.
Well, depends on how full your sleeves are.
That's right. 4 of a kind is less likely, therefore it wins. Yes? But a full house, being you're sitting on win right there, baby. Don't screw it up. Okay? It is a very tiny chance of it happening. So when it happens to you, you're like, I'm gonna win if I don't screw it up. Okay? So just be aware of that. That's how that's done. Full house is a little tricky because on a full house you have to account for the different pieces, right? And it's easy to screw it up. You say to me, I almost screwed up. I put 13 there initially. I knew 13 was in there. I said, think about it a little bit. Okay? So there will be a quiz this week. We are going to push the test back 1 week. So it won't be next week. It'll be the following week. I'll make a note of that on a syllabus change. And I think I'm done talking. There will be a follow-up video maybe with some more examples this week. But we covered a lot of what I wanted to cover. I didn't do enough examples. So I'll do some more examples. Okay? All right, run along. Have a nice evening.
I guess that's a game of 5 card draw.